So it's Monday, which means it's Setup Monday. Happy belated Halloween. Happy full moon. Happy daylight savings time. Happy US election day tomorrow coming up. Bunch of stuff going on. Volatility will mainly come from US election, I think, regardless of the outcome. So keep that in mind with any trading setup this week. Everybody in the world is paying attention to what's going on with the election, which we may not know the result of for a month or more, which will only bring additional volatility to all markets. But if we look at ETH specifically, I wanted to revisit a setup I talked about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I've talked about it a lot now. Is this bullish TK recross above the cloud. Historically, in a vacuum, this represents an extremely bullish market condition because it signifies a previous bull trend reconsolidating into another bullish continuation. So you have to think about it like that. You have to say, this was bullish, it tried to go bearish and couldn't or didn't, and is now on the side of bullish territory once again and continues to have a bullish bias. For ETH, this specific signal happens extremely infrequently, and this is only the fourth occurrence since 2016. This ticker is specifically the ELX, which is not currently available on TradingView in the full history, as far as I'm aware. But getting back to the signal, we can talk about the nuances between this specific TK cross where the Kijun goes down below the Tenkan. To me, in my mind, there is no difference. It is binary. It is either a bullish TK cross or it is not. And currently it is, and I'll show the Bitcoin cross that happened a few days ago to show the potential possibilities of where this might go. But this is extremely bullish. It doesn't mean it will react immediately to the upside, but it does significantly suggest bullish conditions resuming in their full-fledged form, as was previously the case. So does this say we're predicting 30, 60, 80, 90, 200% move? No, it does not. It just says the trend is back on the table. We're bullish once again, is what the cloud is predicting. Now, if this drops below 350, which is the daily cloud here, the ultimate litmus test for trend, if it's below, it's bearish. If it's above, it's bullish. Then the situation changes. And again, with election volatility, not that I'm like hedging anything, that's in the back of everybody's mind. Things can get pretty wacky, as they did in 2016 with BTC and everything else. There should be a reaction in the market one way or the other throughout the next month regarding what's going on. So here historically are the bullish TK recrosses, and you can see in what conditions these occurred. It's always after usually an extended period of bullishness. Usually you get a retest of the high at a bare minimum. It does not always lead to an equally bullish run compared to the previous rally. If we look at 2017's bullish TK recrosses, this was in the setting of an ascending triangle. And when there's a bunch of sideways, you will see this. You will also hear me say when markets are sideways, trend indicators are less valuable, less predictive, because there is less to measure. If you're getting 4 weeks of less than 1% moves, the averages are going to be close to equal. And the metrics, the settings, the TK lines, they're going to snake in and out of each other. So all in all, it says those should be less valuable, less actionable. However, if they occur, you're still more bullish than bearish, as is currently the case. It's basically looking like a random walk of volatility where it just is all over the place, right? Like, I haven't been able to trade this super successfully. I don't know what's going on here with ETH. It's up to 400, 405 one day. It's down to 385 in a couple hours later. But the averages are telling you it's bullish, just as it was in 2017. Now, this may morph into something else like a triangle like it did in 2017. But again, it still was bullish, and you got to trust your system. It's bullish. These don't happen often. Now, if we contrast that, here's the Bitcoin stuff. So in Bitcoin, it happens a little more frequently. It's still pretty rare. We had one in July 26th, TK recross above the cloud. We had one in October 20th. Again, this was more of a T at the K-June crossing below the Tenkan, but nevertheless, it still resulted in, thus far, a very nice bullish rally. And if you contrast that to something like Ripple, where it hasn't held above the cloud significantly since 2018, you can see it gets these bear trends, mean reversion, bear trend, mean reversion, inability to reconsolidate bullish, bear trend, mean reversion, bear trend, mean reversion, and it's below the cloud again. No bullish TK recrosses above the cloud here since 2018. Zero, none. Hasn't happened. It says, despite any attempt at bullishness, it has all been smacked down repeatedly. Obviously, you don't need the cloud to see that, but again, it shows you the power of these TK crosses, where price sits above or below the cloud. It shows you the significance of the system, these metrics, blah, 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 settings, 20, 60, 120, 30 are the settings. So the setup of the week is definitely the expectation of bullishness in the next few weeks for ETH currently in the setting of the US election, which could change anything in any moment. And these are the BTC bullish TK recrosses above the cloud since 2016. And again, during this ascending triangle phase, which in and of itself is a bullish biased chart pattern, you're getting these additional bullish TK recrosses above the cloud to sort of gild the lily, saying that, hey, this is probably going to go up. In addition to that, we had during each and every, or after each and every extreme dip, whether it was China bans Bitcoin, Bitcoin ETF gets rejected, Bcash, SegWit 2x, all this stuff, there was extreme volatility, but each time you had the go long again signal, go long again signal, go long again signal, and price followed every time. Currently for BTC, similar situation. We don't have insane news volatility for the most part right now, but we're still getting these bullish TK recrosses above the cloud. Then if we look at ETH BTC really quick, also potentially a setup. This is the 2-day chart. So this is technically the 100 green and the 400 red EMA here. I like to look at alts on high time frames if there's data, because it's pretty revealing of what's going on. You can see between mid 2018 and mid 2020, distinctly bearish. We were below that red line, that 400, above it over the past few months, and now we're back at the 400 daily EMA, 200 2-day EMA. I do think this goes to 05 eventually, which is the current R2 yearly pivot. So it's a decent setup for a long here in the sense that it's mean reverted to a high time frame EMA. It's back to the previous local high of the consolidation W, whatever. It's cooled off significantly. So there's a decent setup there. RSI is pretty low. I'd watch for a bullish divergence on any lower lows here. Low time frames don't look great, but I think this is a high time frame play. I don't think this, at least for me in my trading style, isn't a lower time frame setup. Definitely a set it and forget it. It's mean reverted, decent sized upside, hoping for not a bearish cross here on the EMAs. So this week's mainly ETH, even though BTC's been mooning. No real setups for BTC other than wait and see through this election. But cloud is love, cloud is life. Believe in the power of the cloud. Happy trading.